I fundamentally disagree with you in regards to having a family and getting married in this day and age. And I'll tell you why. 70% of the divorce rates happen because of women. Before we get angry, let's talk about the facts that you can Google this too. Top of that, 85% of the men, or I should say people in jail, grew up in fatherless homes. So there's a direct correlation between those two things. So my thinking is that we don't need to necessarily have more families unless we have a complete change to the system. Now, what do you think about that? We need to change the system in order for us to have a nice conversation about, having a family, because the state incentivizes single motherhood in this country. And you're looking at me with that face, but tell me why.
I'm trying to understand what you're saying. Like, what is your contention, that we shouldn't get married and have kids?
We shouldn't currently because of this particular issue right now.
What the issue is? Build that out further for me. So
okay, let me explain.
Outside of the fact that, the anti-woman thing that you said.
Well, it's not necessarily anti-woman, it's a fact. You can Google this too. And look at the divorce rates in this country. I'm just saying that if we're going to have more families, we need some protections in place for men. Because right now, the legal system actively destroys the man in court. All right, is that false or is that true?
I mean, yeah, of course it's true that the state encourages divorce, but
yeah.
How about you find a woman that you want to spend the rest of your life?
I was married for 10 years.
And then you should take responsibility for your own actions. Like, why is that my problem?
No, another thing is that you're saying you're asking me if I should find a woman.
But hold on, you're going up in front of people, time out, to say marriage is bad because I had a bad experience.
No, but it's true statistically. We can look at the data. Is it wrong to say that, hey, 70% of divorces are initiated by women when the data says that?
Can I ask you a
Facts
provocative
don't care
question?
about feelings, right?
Can I ask you a provocative question?
Yes,
did you do anything that led to your divorce?
Absolutely.
Okay, so it wasn't all the woman's fault.
No, but I'm saying, but here's the thing. 70% of the divorces are initiated by them. And
we as men must lead. Women might initiate it, but we as men don't take the directive to have peace in the home.
Well,
I reject the premise. Hold on, time out.
Okay,
let me finish.
Right,
I reject the premise. Yes, women might initiate the divorce proceeding, but we are the one as men that ignore the subterranean threat and the brush fire that is growing. We're the ones that should take the family back to church, that go seek counseling if necessary.
And
it's not It's not good enough just to say, like, hey, it's women that initiate it. It's men who don't act, I think, confidently and strong enough in most cases to actually make sure that marriage is a safe haven to have children in a wholly protected place.
And I think that makes sense. And let me say this. Okay, let's find some common ground. So we know that the system is flawed, right? So here's the thing that's flawed about it. When the federal government incentivizes the state, at the state level, for child support enforcement programs, and we have a system where the state makes a bunch of money off of this, it's pretty parasitic because there's no such thing as a 50-50 custody in Wyoming, even if you get along with the parent. So when the state is actively involved with family matters and women are getting paid off from this, and this is not false, we have a toxic system that probably needs to be revised. Do you not disagree with that? Because
I think we should revise. I do believe in more men's rights in custody. I think that's fine. But let's take a step back though, and I think it's very important, is that men are objectively better when they are married and they don't stay as grown infant boys watching porn and playing video games all day long.
And I don't disagree with it. I agree.
So here's my argument. Despite the problems of the legal system, of which your argument has some merit, we still should get married because it is the right thing to do. Despite the technical problems, despite the difficulties. In fact, it's us men, to find a woman that we love and to protect that marriage and hope that it never goes in the direction of divorce. And
that's 30% though. That's 30% chance that it succeeds.
No, about half of marriages continue. It's not 30%.
No, because if hold on a second. Because look at this. Why do we have such a society that is so hyper-focused on we need to have a bunch of children and get married, but we have this system in place, and I'm talking about the federal government, that incentivizes single parenthood. And we can look at most of these inmates in jail come from fatherless homes. Maybe we should get rid of the state involved in personal family matters.
So you're conflating, you know why? The fatherless homes you're talking about are people that never got married in the first place most of the time. They're men
that's true.
They're men that impregnate women and flee the women that they were with. But understand this, that every generation has had troubles. Our duty as men is to overcome obstacles, not whine about them and not complain about them. So yes, there is a problem here, but I would reject the premise. Every young man should say, I'm not gonna be a boy and I'm gonna go do the hard thing and get married and have children. And I would just push back against some of your narrative where you're telling like, well, men, it might not be good, it might not be this. Yes, life has lots of things that could throw at you, but marriage is a holy, holy institution that we should aim for. And the fact that marriage is slipping in the West is one of the great damaging indicators as to why our country is falling apart.
Should we revise it?
Yes, I think we should revise some of the laws. I agree. But the answer is not to not get married or run away from that institution. It's tough. Okay, still, go get married and have kids. Thank you very much.
I'm a disagreeer, but first, I really do respect how you engage with college students and promote open dialogue. Thank you for that, and I want to try to argue my case. So, I'm pro-choice, and I want to share why. My reasoning is, let's say I have a homeless adult kid who knocks on my door in a blizzard. If I don't let him in, he will die of the cold. I might choose to let him in, but the law does not force me to let him in. You've been saying that no one is legally required to give others their housing or support, even if it means saving their life. So here's my question. If we agree that people can't be legally forced to use their homes to save someone, why should women be legally forced to use their bodies to sustain a fetus, especially in the first trimester when it can't survive on its own?
It's a good faith question. So taking rape outside of my answer, because
Yep.
rape would invalidate what I'm about to say, how about 99% of the cases are non-rape abortions? Which is, the analogy actually falls apart, or the metaphor, because you actually do invite the homeless person into your home. That's what happens when you have sex. You invite the baby into your uterus. So you could be pro-choice of whether or not you're going to have sex.
It's not always a choice. Sometimes the condom can break.
Oh, no,
Sometimes it
you
can
don't
be
have to have sex. That's the point. Having sex is not a human need. Eating and showering is, but you can wait until you're married. You actually don't have to have sex.
Here's my counterpoint to that, though. If I'm driving a car, I'm taking the chance that there could be a kid if there's like a bike lane right next to me. And this actually happened recently close to my home, where there's someone on a Lime scooter on like a bike lane right next to me. He fell off his Lime scooter and he got hit by a car and the kid died. That's really sad. It was a life that ended. But I didn't have to go to drive. I didn't have to drive my car. The person didn't have to drive in the car who hit the kid, but he took the risk. In the end, the law still doesn't punish the driver because it wasn't his fault. He did everything that he possibly could, and he didn't have to drive.
You're equating having sex with driving, just to be clear.
My analogy is that it's my choice to drive a car or not, but I'm still taking the risk. But if someone...
Well, hold on, but if you're driving a car
Yeah.
and you do run somebody over, you could be susceptible to manslaughter laws.
I could be susceptible to that, but if it's not my fault, then I don't get a manslaughter law. And
Okay,
what
so
happened in
that's
this case is
interesting.
that they didn't get a
Then let's
manslaughter
go
law.
further.
Legally,
At what
they didn't.
point is something your fault?
It's very circumstantial.
No, but like what is the intent threshold when something is your fault?
If you intentionally try to cause an action, then it's your fault.
I
But for
agree,
this
like an
driver, they
abortion.
did not intentionally do it.
So
There's
like an
nothing they could
abortion,
have done.
hold on, like an abortion, you intentionally cause a result.
I'm intentionally causing an abortion,
Yeah,
but
you're
it's my
intentionally
right to
causing
choose.
an abortion, so with intent standard, you are eliminating a human life.
In the end, it's still the woman's choice to do what she wants with their home. I can do whatever I want with my home. If I want to kick a homeless person out of my home, even if I know that he's going to die in the street, I'm allowed to kick that homeless person out of my house, even though that means he'll die. And that's really sad that a human life will die. I agree with there's a human in the body. I agree with that. The person will still die. It's still my choice. It's still legally my choice to kick a person out of home.
Let's play
it's the
this
woman's
out. Let's just
Okay.
Because your analogy sounds rational, but it's not. Can a mother of a 1-year-old kick her baby out of her house?
No.
Well,
She can set up for adoption.
No, but why can't she just leave it on the side of the street? Isn't that a child abandonment law?
There's a gray area between setting someone to go up to an adoption center, which is a really easy thing to do to just drop them off at a fire station, which you're allowed to set up someone for adoption.
No, but hold on. You said that you do not have to give care to someone who knocks on your door. That's your whole contention.
Legally correct. You don't.
Right. So, but if you have a 1-year-old baby,
You can either give them care or you can put them up for adoption. You have one of two
But
choices.
that's my stance when it comes to the baby in the womb.
And
You
the
can
baby
give
in
them
the womb
care,
is
or you
different.
How is it different? How is it a different?
It's physically taking over the woman's womb. It causes physical, emotional, mental damage to the woman when it's in the womb.
But how is
There's
that?
legal
How
risks.
how does that at all diminish or increase the value of the human life?
The human life's still important. I'm not saying that abortion is not tragic, but what I am saying is that the woman's right to choose what she does with her own body is also important. The right to self-autonomy is also
Got it.
important.
But doesn't the baby also have a right to self-autonomy?
I agree, and the person who's homeless and will die if I don't live in the house also has the right to self-autonomy, but he doesn't have the right to
Well, hold
self-autonomy
on.
if it means that he's
so we are clear,
infringing on my own
to play-
rights.
Your homeless example, again, further falls apart. If they knock on a hospital or a police station or a fire station, they are welcomed in. So there are places for homeless people to be able to get care. There's no place for an unborn child to get care if they walk
That's
into
a
an abortion
societal
clinic.
obligation, a government obligation, not an individual
for sure.
private
I-
obligation.
no, I agree. That's
an
why
individual
abortion-
person's body is their own private one.
I agree. That's why abortion should be illegal, because we have a societal obligation to
No,
protect every life.
It's a private person's womb. It's a private person's house. They're both private property belonging to the
So that-
individual
so
person.
you think the womb is private, like
It is the woman's womb.
Got it. But
It
is it
her
her
womb.
is it her DNA?
Half of her DNA, and it
Well,
doesn't
no, no.
matter. It's
Hold
a
on.
separate person with
No,
their own
time out.
unique DNA.
If it's not your DNA, why is it your choice?
Because it's living in my own house. If it's a random homeless person, I can still kick him out, even if it means that he will die.
Yeah, I just
It's my choice to do that.
It's such an incredibly morally perverse argument to make.
Moral
just so
or
we are
not,
clear.
legally does not revolve around your morals.
Well, of course it does. I mean, laws are a reflection of morality. That's why we have murder laws, right? That's why we say you can't steal.
You can't-
Every law is a reflection of some moral truth.
For stealing, it doesn't directly affect you. If I try to murder someone,
Of course, stealing affects me. Of course it does.
you're stealing to directly affect someone else. You're not stealing because you have to steal. You're doing it because you're choosing to actively steal. For a baby going into a person's womb, the mom's not killing the baby because she wants to kill the baby. She's killing the baby because it's taking her own organs and causing the physical stress and
No, but
safety of her own body.
I need to get back to one contention, though. Do you believe in the generally, that people should take responsibility for their own actions?
Yes.
Okay, so then...
But if it's not their fault, then
Well,
no.
hold on, but by fault, they made a decision to have sex 99.9% of the time.
Just like,
But
well,
by doing so...
99% is rape, and even still, abortion
Well,
laws, but
the-
99% is the opposite. Is the opposite.
99% of the time, it's a form of birth control. So
Yeah, form of birth
essentially, you would agree that it being a form of birth control, basically, it's a oopsie. I'm just going to eliminate a human life because I have autonomy over my own body.
You're willingly taking the risk of that birth control potentially failing, but you're also doing that when you're driving a car. If I go to a mechanic and he checks that my brakes, if he checks that my brakes are okay,
that's such a
I'm
morally
still taking
contorted
the risk
analogy.
that my car can still work. I agree with the analogy.
No, in no way is that even close to the same.
You're taking the risk in both chances, and both can't kill a person.
Wait.
So never drive.
Wait, you're saying that having sex could potentially result in the death of a person?
You have the chance of getting pregnant, and if you don't want to get
Yes,
pregnant,
and then you have an obligation to allow that life to grow. Because universal human equality applies to all human beings, regardless of how small they are or where they are. Just because you're within a womb. And to play out that analogy further, you say that, well, it's drawing from the mom's nutrients and it's changing her organs. Yeah. Just so we are clear, the mom's nutrients continue when the baby's 6 months old. You ever heard of breastfeeding? The mom's organs continue to change after birth. Yeah. Can she then eliminate the 6-month-old saying, I don't want to feed that 6-month-old?
You can put it up for adoption, yes.
Well, no, why can't she murder it?
Because at that point, she has a choice to save the baby. If you can save the baby, you can. And I'm saying a viability.
You could save the baby at 23 weeks.
I agree with you. I'm saying first trimester when the baby's not viable.
Okay,
outside
so
of the
now
womb.
we're getting somewhere.
And I said that at the beginning of my open statement.
But the viability standard is, very questionable. When does human development begin?
At conception. I agree it's a human person inside you, but the problem is that you're taking the woman's own part. And so, if the baby can come out of the woman and still be alive, then I agree abortion should not apply. And that should be an individual case for the doctor to determine that. But if it's taken directly from the woman and the baby has to die in order for the baby to come out,
let me just conclude in this. Every baby will take from something else necessarily for the first 3 years. A baby will not hunt and gather, and a baby can't go get a job.
I agree.
So by definition, every baby, whether it's 6 months in the womb or 6 months outside of the womb, is dependent on an exterior force. So that moral threshold of viability actually does not continue out. It'd be one thing if a baby is born, all of a sudden the baby says, okay, let's get to work and let's go become a janitor. A child is actually highly dependent and only viable in the sense that it can breathe and clean its bladder. However, there are millions of babies born in NICU units across the country, neonatal intensive care units, that have all sorts of machines and contraptions that do and simulate the work of the gestational process. So I can understand your argument. I just think it's incredibly morally troubling to say that a woman has so much autonomy over her own body, therefore you are allowed to then eliminate, murder, or kill if it makes your life a little bit difficult.
We'll agree to disagree. There's one more point I want to make quickly, too, is that you compare abortion to the Holocaust a lot. Can you
It's actually worse than the Holocaust.
Explain why.
55 million babies have been killed since.
Compared to how many in the Holocaust?
6 million, yeah.
Okay, so would you say it's by ratio 55 to 6 times
No,
worse?
there's an evil that was in the Holocaust that is not quite manifested in the abortion industry,
Agree.
which was the intentional extermination of a specific type of people.
Agree.
Now, part of the abortion industry also has a lot of anti-black eugenics philosophy as the basis from Margaret Sanger, but I would say there was this very specific, unique evil in the Holocaust.
So why do you care so much about other individuals living their lives? Why is it affecting you? Do you have something up your ass or something?
Well, I could throw that right back at you. Why do you care so much about what I have to say?
Because you're affecting other people's rights. You're taking away people's choices. You are hurting people. Read the Constitution.
What rights am I taking away exactly?
You're trying to take away gender-affirming care for individuals. You are affecting abortion rights. You are hurting people.
Got it. So what is a woman?
What is a woman? It's what people identify as. It's a gender. Sex is different. Sex is different from gender.
So can anyone be a woman?
Yes.
At what point do you know you're looking at a woman?
Doesn't matter when you are looking at a woman. You don't have to look at a woman and immediately tell. Can you tell looking at a baby what gender they are without looking at their privates? Tell me that.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. What about that baby is different?
But hold on. By the time they're 6 months old, you can actually tell a young boy tends to gravitate more towards balls and remotes.
That's because it's gender affirming. That is convincing individuals at a young age. You are socializing, putting them in situations where they want certain different things. Let's look at... So, let's say you were a little kid and your parents taught you to like pink. Let's actually look back in time. Pink actually used to be a male color instead of blue. In what world? Actually, in the 1920s.
So you say that I'm here to take people's rights away.
Yes.
That is your main contention.
Yes, because
Right.
you are affecting the LGBT. You are affecting women's rights. If I was pregnant, oh wait, let's go back to this. Abortion is anything. If I had a cyst on my uterus, that would be considered an abortion. No, it's not. Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. Look at,
That-
okay, anything that is involving the uterus,
Well, no, in order for it to be an abortion, it must be a human life.
no. Anything that is
Yes.
involving the uterus and you have to get rid of it, it is considered abortion.
No, that's
Yes,
not how
it
that's
is.
not how it works. So again, you say I'm here to take rights away.
Yes.
Do you agree life is a right?
I feel like if it's a clump of cells, then it's not alive.
No, but let's go back. Do you think every human being has a right to life?
Depending on how many weeks, but let's
So wait,
get-
hold on. Who's
No,
trying to take
no.
rights away? I want to protect the rights of all human beings. You call them a clump of cells. Who's trying to take rights away exactly?
So when is it a human being in your mind? When is it a human being
At-
in your mind?
Well, it's not even on my mind. Human development objectively begins at conception.
At conception. So even if I had a miscarriage, what are you going to say about that?
It's a tragedy.
It's a tragedy?
Yes.
Okay, then let's talk about like what if it's affecting the woman or anybody who is pregnant in this situation? What if they're going to die and they have to get an abortion? That's the only way they're going to live. Are they going to be f***ed over?
Well, hold on. Just so we're clear, that's only a couple thousand cases a year.
No.
And so, yes, it is.
Have you seen
But-
how many individuals have already
But-
died
but-
because they haven't been
but
able to get abortion care?
Abortion in the life of the mother can be put aside as something that needs to be considered. However, it's not always necessary. But let's talk about the main thing, because there's over 1.5 million abortions every single year that don't involve rape, incest, or life of the mother.
Yeah,
1.5 million.
yes,
But let's just ask you a very simple question. When does human life begin?
When does human life, in my personal opinion, is going to start around the second trimester, a little more farther along. But let's get to this. Most individuals that are having abortions are going to be mothers that cannot afford it. They usually have already 2 to 3 kids and a lot of time.
So it's acceptable to be able to murder your young if all of a sudden you don't have the money to support them. That you can murder your offspring if you're poor.
So in the first couple weeks, even though it's still not fully developed, doesn't even have a heartbeat, doesn't even have brain
Development
activity.
does not equal dignity. A human being is a human being regardless of the process of development that it is in. Period. And so who's trying to take rights away? I actually want more human beings to
Then
be
why
born.
are you affecting LGBT?
Well, hold on. We're talking. Let me finish on abortion. I want more human lives, which, by the way, hilariously, would be more women would be born, because the right to life is paramount. You're trying to take rights away because you're okay with the massacring of little humans. Back to LGBT.
It's been going throughout history, though. Abortion has been a big thing for
yeah.
a long time, and it affects people,
So-
and it hurts people.
So as murder and slavery and child sacrifice. There's
That is
been
completely different.
no, it is
You
murder.
are saying slavery versus abortion? Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you a question then. Define what is murder.
What is murder? Are you going to be talking about first-degree murder, like homicide, like going and
Sure.
having the intent to kill? Having the intent to kill somebody, but I'm
hold on.
just saying
So
a
a
clump
human
of
being,
cells.
right?
Yeah, but a clump of cells
Well,
is different.
hold on, time out. If it's a clump of cells, what species is it?
What species is
Yes.
it?
What species?
It depends. Whatever's going to be pregnant, whatever you're trying
species.
to abort.
Is it a Homo sapien, a crocodile, or a raccoon? Which one is it? What
We're Homo
species is it?
sapiens in
Oh,
the
wait,
sense
so
I'm
if it's a
hoping.
human clump of cells, then it's a human life deserving of human rights. And the first right is life. And so you could call it a clump of cells, which is dehumanizing language, but I'll go back to this. Ironically, you're the one that is actually intruding on human rights. We're the one protecting human rights.
But you're
which
trying to
again,
get rid of the option so people can have rights to their own body.
Hold
If
on,
someone does
time
not want
out.
to have a child, they should not be forced to.
If the-
Oh, wait. If we're going to be doing this, then what are you going to do about the children in the systems that have been being assaulted, that are being hurted? Put more money into the system so people can actually get adopted, or actually other things like that.
Again, none of that is relevant.
No,
to
because
the-
you want more
no.
babies to be born. What about people that can't afford
Again,
them? They have to go into systems.
How many people are on the adoption waiting list?
Yeah, well, I know how many kids actually get adopted.
2
How many
million
kids
people-
that go
2
into
million
systems
people
or are being
are on the
fostered, that
adoption
get
waiting
assaulted,
list.
that get hurt? Are you going to be helping those
Two-
children that get
well,
f***ed over by
okay.
this system?
So there are 2 million people on the adoption waiting list. There are 1 million abortions every year. There are
Okay.
twice as many people that want to adopt than discarded children every single year. Now I have to go back to a fundamental question though,
Okay.
which I think is very important. Human development objectively begins at conception. You say it's around 2 trimesters. Can we agree that every human being, once your DNA is formed, you should have the right to life, the right to live the life the way you want to live it? Can we agree on that?
How many weeks are we saying?
No, I say again. Once we
So,
can
like,
acknowledge.
once the sperm is inside the egg?
Correct. Yeah. 'cause-
No.
Well,
Once the sperm
okay.
is inside the egg in the first, like, couple of days? No.
Well, okay, but let's go through that. Isn't that when your DNA was formed?
Yeah?
But then aren't you fundamentally at its core, you are the DNA is your blueprint for your life. That's who you are. It's a unique marker.
It's my DNA, yeah.
Yes, so if it's not your DNA, why is it your choice?
Why is it my choice?
Yes, if it's not your DNA, why do you have a choice to eliminate it?
It's up to the individual that is having them inside of it.
Oh, okay.
It's their body. I don't care if it is like a few weeks because that is not a human being's
So
life yet. Because
outside of rape,
that individual cannot survive without the mother or who is ever pregnant. Therefore,
again, so let's get down to this because I think it's very important and a good way to end this question, which is outside of rape, how did the woman get pregnant?
outside of rape, so we're not going to be talking about incest or other individuals like that, because incest is not only just rape or other situations.
How about if I say?
Let's talk about how like eggs that get mixed up in
How about
kids.
if I say?
about that?
How about if I say I'm okay with abortion for rape, incest, and life of the mother? Let's make it illegal in the other circumstances. Would you agree?
How are we going to be able to term that all the time, though? Because what if it wasn't consensual? What if the individual was drunk, but they're married? Let's say they're married and they got raped.
You can get a rape. Again, you keep on interrupting me, but you can report rape as a crime. You can also do a blood test to find out if it's incest. But 99.9% of all abortions are not rape and not incest and not life of the mother. How did that woman get pregnant in those situations? Did she just walk through campus and it just appeared and all of a sudden a baby is in her uterus? Or did she do something to decide to potentially have a child?
Sex. But also contraceptives sometimes don't always work.
It. So, but hold on a second. Shouldn't you take responsibility for your
I don't think most men can make me come. I'm going to be honest.
Oh, okay. Well, again, outside of that statement, I'm not even sure how to take that, to be honest.
You brought up
Okay. Shouldn't you take responsibility for the sex that you have?
I mean, if I was wanting to have a child and my contraceptives, I didn't use any contraceptives, and I wanted to get pregnant, sure, I'm taking responsibility for that life because I wanted that life. But let's say I was having sex and my contraceptives didn't work and I got the chance of getting pregnant. I am not having that child.
But you still decided to have sex.
Yeah.
And again, our opinion, when you go and decide, having sex is not something you need to survive. It's not like showering or eating or shelter. You can live without having sex. You can have a little bit of self-control. If you decide to go have sex, you should understand you play certain games, you win certain prizes, which might be another human life. And it is the most...
I don't want to f another child, though.
Hold on a second. Then don't go have sex.
No.
Oh, so you understand how narcissistic that is, that I want to keep on having fun, and if I have a human being and oopsie daisy, I'm going to eliminate that other human being because I don't want to have the human being, but I want to keep on having free sex. How is that not the most narcissistic worldview that one can possibly espouse?
It's narcissistic that I want to have sex with another consenting individual just because I don't want to have children. I feel like a lot of people in the world have sex. I think a lot of people make money off of having sex, and they don't want to have children. I feel like it is something that everybody do. A lot of people have sex just for pleasure.
Just because a lot of people do it does not make it right, number one. Number two, again, fundamentally, your view is I'm going to do whatever I want to do, and if it creates other human beings, so be it. Sure.
Do you have sex just to have a baby every single time then? Or are you doing it for pleasure?
I am married and we have 2 kids.
Yeah,
so we're pretty good
but
at it,
I'm assuming that you have had sex more than twice in your life,
again,
not just to have the babies.
give you an inside look into my sex life, but
you're doing it for pleasure, not just to have kids.
Well, again, we actually always do it with God's trust that if we get kids, it's a blessing, okay? And we do it in the marital context. Again,
you also are in a position where you can afford to have children. You are in a position where you are not the lower class.
How about this? How about we have the maturity and the sophistication? Again, you keep on using words children and baby. Let me ask you a question. When someone is celebrating a pregnancy, do they call it a clump of cell shower or a baby shower?
That's also when it's already been past those weeks.
Oh, so it magically gets pixie dust. You're a human being now.
No, because it develops.
Oh, exactly, because it's all around the spectrum of human development, and human development starts at conception.
Yeah, is it going to be completely developed at the first week? No. So
you're not completely developed right now. A lot of people aren't completely developed.
You're never going to be completely developed.
It's like you are not completely developed at age 30 or 40. The spectrum of human development keeps on going when you go deep and deep into your life. The question is the most important question, when does that journey begin? Like, when did your process of development begin?
My process of development?
Yes. Yeah. At conception. Every person in this audience, your life started at conception. And your own DNA, from your eye color to your hair color to your height, from your likes and your dislikes, whether you're an introvert, you're an extrovert, all of that was coded into your deoxyribonucleic acid at the moment that you were a zygote. And so that human deserves constitutional and human rights. And again, you came up here with the accusation saying, I am here taking away people's rights.
You are.
Again, so...
You are affecting LGBT rights and abortion rights. You are affecting individuals that can't always speak for themselves.
Got it. So again, I think we have gone through this plenty of times. I want to get to the next question.
Okay.
But maybe we can get to some...
I'll burn it.
You'll burn it, okay. Maybe we can get to some approximation of an agreement. Can we agree?
No.
Oh. Can we agree on? I will pray for you this whole event, but like,
well, it's not even just him. Even when Trump started his first started his campaign, and maybe he mentioned it as misspeaking, but he talked to a lot of Latino people or immigrants who came here as criminals or rapists.
But there are a lot of criminals and rapists coming, though.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
But he never said all. Never.
I get that. The problem is, he says something like that. I've lived out west. Like, I've lived out in Arizona where there are communities who do have undocumented people who work in the agricultural industry. I've had friends who've worked there, and they're good people. They're trying to do more. They're trying to be as upstanding citizens as they can be without being citizens. And again, this rhetoric, it gets passed around, and it worries me for their safety.
Yeah, I mean, that's a bunch of BS. So let me just ask you.
You don't think that has an impact?
No, again, like the rhetoric. I mean, like, first of all, let's just be clear. Do you think it should be illegal to come into America without permission?
No. Oh, wait. Let me rephrase that. Do
you think it should be against the law for someone to come into America without permission?
No. Yes, I do.
Okay. What should the punishment be?
I think it depends on the reason why they came here.
See, I disagree. So let's apply that standard. Do you think it should be illegal to go break into somebody's home?
Yeah.
Do we factor in the reason when we sentence them? Should we?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I disagree. I don't think it's okay to rob a grocery store if you're hungry. I don't think it's okay to rob a bank if you're poor.
Okay.
Do you?
Usually, I do not think it would be okay. But if someone's under extreme circumstances, I can understand why they might make a decision.
Well, hold on a second. People are not coming to America under extreme circumstances.
Really?
What circumstance? That their countries are poor? That's 6 billion of the 7 billion people on this planet. Right?
Yeah.
So that's a right to just walk into somebody else's country?
I'm not saying they should just be able to come here willy-nilly. All right?
But they are, right? And they should be removed and returned to their country of origin, right?
If they can go back there, but that's not always an option.
Well, there's flights every day. Like, you can definitely go back.
I don't mean in terms of transportation. I mean countries like, you bring up what...
Name one country. El Salvador, it's actually safer than America. Venezuela, it's now safer than America. Why? Because they're sending their criminals here. They're opening their prisons and sending the migrants here. That we have a migrant crime wave.
I know people who've come from those countries.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure there's lots of exceptions. Here's the problem, is that you need to put your own citizens first above the citizens of another country, always. And right now, everybody in this audience, they're the first generation since George Washington, have it worse off than their parents. And so I don't care about the rhetoric. I don't know what you're talking about, to be honest. Instead, I do not have a soft spot for someone that is coming from the third world illegally into our nation when our own generation, these kids here, are the most depressed, suicidal, anxious, poor, and least homeownership generation in history. These kids should come first above foreigners. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And again, I'm precise in my language. I can go through the examples of Trump. I will say this, but Trump has record support amongst the Latino community, has record support amongst the black community, because those that have come legally, which I assume you have, coming from...
I was born here.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Great. So that's a separate topic, but that's unrelated. Which is... Your parents came here legally, I meant, yes?
Yeah.
Okay. Which is great, and that's fine. That's the way it should. We have a very big open heart, but you have to come legally. And there's a difference. And I will say to your parents that came here legally, I want you to think about this. It's an insult to your parents that had to wait in line, fill out the forms, and not commit any crimes, saying that they had to do it the right way, to the 10 million people that were able to break into this country and cut in line and do it the wrong way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get that.
So... please. And by the way, I love that your family's a small business. You know, people like your family make this country a better place.
We try. But the reason I ask is I talked to my mom. She came from IT in the late 70s. She's talked about this stuff. Like, there are people who've come up to our business. We usually don't get any trouble, but we don't usually say, like, hey, we're originally from that country, because we're worried, like, what if somebody's going to come up and say, oh, you're an immigrant? They're going to have trouble with us.
And I think this is important. Generally, have your dealings with white Americans been decent?
Yeah.
Depends?
Depends, yeah.
Really? Would you say that how have white Americans been indecent to you?
To be clear, I'm not saying all that have been, but I know that when we go, depending on where we sell, we often have a much easier time selling in an area where there's...
No, that's not what I asked. Just because people don't want to buy your stuff doesn't mean they're being indecent. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, has this country been good to you guys? Probably, yeah.
Why do we care if there's no father? Like, I grew up without a father. I feel like I'm doing fine. I'm doing great. I'm in college. Like, why are we so towards the father? Why does he need to be there so much?
So just try to answer my question for me. Do you think, what kind of is there any time, and you're being very vulnerable, and I appreciate that, when you were growing up, and maybe not, where you said, I wish I had a dad around?
My mom says I did wish for that once, at wishing well. But my mom was great. She supported me, provided me.
No, I'm not. It's not a knock on single moms.
Right.
But was there ever a time maybe where a more masculine figure would have been helpful?
I can't really, not off the top of my head.
Okay.
Like, what? Can you give me an example of when a masculine figure would be helpful in my life?
When a boyfriend might have broke up with you, and you didn't want to talk to your mom because she just didn't get it, and you wanted a strong, stable man to say you're beautiful?
I think, I mean, I have, if my father was like, you're beautiful, that'd be cool. But like, if my mom was also like, you're beautiful, I don't really see a difference between like my mom saying it and my father saying it.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I don't see the world that way, because there's being a father to a daughter, there's a very unique bond between a father and a daughter, where you fall in love again, but not romantic love. You fall in a different type of Greek love, which is called storge, which is a father-daughter love, where you have such affection for this incredible being, and your task is to shepherd that vulnerable, innocent girl through life all the way up until the marriage aisle, to kind of connect the two topics together, right?
Wow.
Where then you hand it off to another man, because women are worthy of protection.
So you're saying like there has to be a man in the woman's life.
Not
the
has
woman
to.
can't be
Not-
like alone.
No, there are exceptions, but it is a beautiful ideal. And when that ideal falls apart, now let's talk about the technical side. In the black community, when fathers are no longer around, crime goes up, poverty goes up. Because you'll understand this less, and a man in the audience who grew up without a father will totally get this. If it's just a mom in the house, the dad should come in and discipline the 14-year-old for acting like a brat. The dad comes in and he says, stop doing this. You need to be able to outrank the 14-year-old brat with another masculine figure. We have a problem in black America. The biggest problem is not racism, it's the lack of dads. If dads are around, kids flourish. And you know who agreed with me? Barack Obama. Barack Obama used to make this a central piece of his campaign. He came to this campus back in 2012, drew like a 100,000 person crowd, and talked about how we need to rebuild the black family and put dads back. Why doesn't the Democrat Party talk about that anymore?
I'm fine with having fathers. I'm not against having black dads.
For sure. I'm saying, but don't we agree? Has anyone heard that mentioned on the national scale in the last 10 years? Yeah, I mean, we've heard about
Probably
like,
not.
yeah, and
Because
why
there's
is that?
bigger issues.
No, there isn't. See, that's the issue, is that this is what makes us different. As a conservative, I focus on, if you have family breakdown, don't worry about climate change, don't worry about systemic racism. All that stuff is like these crazy
What
abstractions.
do you think create family problems? Systemic racism creates family problems. If you take away black people from their families, then they're going to have
Right.
broken families.
Okay, so, but that's interesting. How are you taking them away? Aren't they leaving? They're not staying with the women they're impregnating. So, for example, there 13% of the population is black. Not every single person ends up in jail, obviously. And yet there's huge child abandonment, because there's a cultural expectation that is different in black America than in white America, which is it's okay to impregnate a woman and abandon her in black America. It's not
based on what? What is that based on?
That's a good question. Where does it come from? It's just based on...
No, I'm saying, what is that, like, your view of black America?
Well, it's not a view, it's true. I mean, don't take my word for it. Look at Thomas Sowell and Shelby Steele that have done amazing analysis on this. It's that in black culture, that is not considered to be a stigma. In white upper middle class culture, for those of you that grew up in Waukesha or Libertyville or grew up in Hinsdale or grew up in Naperville, you guys all know those neighborhoods, if you impregnate a girl, a woman, and you just like abandon her, that's frowned upon. That is a social stigma in upper middle class white culture.
And it's not in black culture?
No. In fact, it's glorified by the rap culture. It is.
I think
Yes.
rap culture is showing what happened. I don't think it's.
Do you think that the songs that are the most popular in Black America are uplifting Black America to be better versions of themselves?
I think the most popular
Like Nicki
songs
Minaj, Cardi B. Do you think that they're like empowering people to be great?
Well, I do think Cardi B and Nicki Minaj are empowering. But when you talk about like
Wow.
black, like let's go like Kendrick or whatever, like they're talking about their life experiences and they're saying this is what happened to me. And people relate to that because that's also what happened to them. It's not saying this is the greatest thing in the entire world.
Does it lift up the audience to become better?
I would think so. Because it's like,
How?
Because it's saying we all relate to this. We can all, like, this is our story. We can be, like, better than this. Even though it's, like, I mean, there's better, there's not better. It depends on what your worldview is. But I think that rap is good because it can, like...
No, I'm not saying it's bad or good. I'm saying, like, just the essence, the core, the ethos is not exactly about, like, quitting drinking, quitting drugs, and getting married and having children.
No, it's about what you have done, not about, like...
No, but just like to be clear, like in black rap culture, is it generally glorified to go sleep with a lot of women?
I mean, that's your view of it.
I'm asking a question. Is it in black rap culture?
I
Yes
think-
or no, guys, in black rap culture?
Is glorify women?
To be able to sleep with a lot of women.
I mean, I think that's one aspect, yeah.
Okay, so let's just take that aspect.
Because it's a luxury that people can do. And, like, it's one of the things that people can do and everyone can relate to. Or a lot of people can relate
Shouldn't
to.
ideally your culture try to elevate and try to challenge the individual to virtue and goodness, not try to bring them down to the lowest parts of their...
I'm not saying that they are bringing them down. I'm saying that this is what they are doing and they are sharing their experiences. They're not saying this is the best thing in the entire world. They're saying this is what I have been through.
Like sleeping with a lot of women.
Yeah.
Or like gang violence and,
I mean, if that's what, like, a lot of people have been through gang violence because that's what's happening in their neighborhoods. They feel like that's the only option. And you might know that that's not the only option, but when you are living in that neighborhood and you don't see any jobs, this is how your family was raising you, what other option do you have? And once you're in it, it's really hard to get out.
So got it. You talk about systemic racism and that being a major driver of Black America's failure to launch, if you will. We subsidize single motherhood in this country. So if you stay single as a single mother, you get money from the federal government, and it's basically subsidized, if you will.
Sure.
Can we at least agree that if the nuclear family in Black America was stronger and tighter knit, that would be a good thing?
In a lot of cases, yeah. I think if the father's abusive, I would not want him there. So I think it really depends on like what family you're talking about. I don't think you can generalize.
What percentage of fathers do you think are abusive?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I would say it's probably small, right?
Not like, I don't know. I have no idea. I have not done research on what percentage of fathers.
But generally, it's good when mom and dad stays around and is raising the kid.
I would say if they are both healthy parents and they are both ready to have a child, it's great. My father, not ready to have a child, do not want him around
just
me.
One last question on role models. Let's say there's a black kid right now. Would you rather have that black kid have a role model be Kendrick Lamar or Clarence Thomas?
Kendrick, obviously.
So not the black American on the United States Supreme Court.
No, he's trying to ban interracial marriage. He's trying to do all.
Wow, no, he's in an interracial marriage.
He literally
He's married to a white woman.
Yeah, I know the Roe v. Wade thing goes against.
He's trying to ban his own marriage.
Yes.
I thought
I'm sorry to break it to you, but the Roe v. Wade.
So just be clear. So that's fine. This is the difference in worldview. We have clarity but not agreement. You'd rather have Kendrick Lamar, who sleeps around with everything that moves,
who is a poet who won a Nobel Prize, who
versus Clarence Thomas, who grew up in the antebellum South, who's a U.S. Supreme Court justice, one of the smartest people ever to serve on the Supreme Court as a black American. And that's the difference, is that we as conservatives think that Clarence Thomas is a far better role model for black America than just some rapper.
I think calling Kendrick some rapper is very dismissive and to all the work he's done with the black community. But okay, that's your opinion, yeah.
So we agree that there should be better role models, maybe?
When have I ever said that there should not be? I'm agreeing with you that there should be fathers if they are right for that. We're agreeing.
Eternity, you have chosen me. Eternity, with you I'll be. You have set me free from eternity. Eternity.